Hi there, I'm Carrie Gatto with Keller Williams Realty, and today on Let's Get Down to Business, I am interviewing Allison Tanenhaus, who is a local artist. Hey, Allison, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Carrie?
Doing really well. So nice to meet you. Thank you so much for
You.
being on the show. Could you start us off by describing your business?
Yes. So I am a digital artist, but my work isn't really limited to just the digital domain. It's pretty adaptable. So I've done everything from building wraps to public art, video stuff, installations. I do some branding, music videos, interior design kind of stuff. I'm probably forgetting something, but essentially, because it's all abstract, and sometimes I work with source material that's kind of based in the community or is based on a particular location where I'm doing a custom commission. It's really flexible and adaptable, so it can go from as small as like a little bit of album art that you see on your phone for Spotify to a 80-foot wall with a video projection for a virtual commencement, which I did in 2020. Yeah, so it's very all over the place in a good way, I think.
Yeah, it's so great that there's so many different applications that you can cater your art to.
I try. It's kind of a blessing and a curse where I'm like, what do I do next? And there's a million directions I can go in, but I'm never bored, so that's nice.
That is nice. And when you say public art, is that like murals or
So sort of. Public art can be a lot of different things. Like I've done I did actually so I don't do murals in terms of like traditional painted because it's not my forte, but I've done murals that are vinyl that could be like a building wrap or a window decal. I've done some video murals where we put in like these big windows, we put this rear projection fabric that just looks like almost like a shower curtain, like a frosted shower curtain kind of thing. But then when you put a video projection through it, it makes the windows look like giant TVs. So yeah, technology is amazing. So you can create these really large scale, colorful, engaging activations that are mural-esque, but aren't, the typical application of paint, which is awesome and I respect, but I just don't have that skill set. But yeah, it's sort of
right?
like like the sibling to that, I guess.
Yeah, thank you for expanding on that. That's really fun. What motivates you to do what you do?
So I'm still sort of stealing this from a friend who's like, anything's better than a white wall, which I totally agree with. And especially when you have like new development or just changing cities and you have, sometimes or things look a little unfamiliar, or if they're just like really new and clean and like that's awesome, but where you want to have like a little bit of like character or more color. So I'm really kind of driven to create a sense of place and personality and bring some character um, to an environment that everyone can enjoy, whether they live there in the actual building, whether they live nearby, or they're just visiting. So sort of like a welcome sign, and to kind of get people to take a little time out of their day and just enjoy art, and not have it be, so much of what we see that's, aesthetic that's around is advertising. So kind of like the counterpoint to that, where it's like, I'm not selling you anything, you don't have to pay me anything, and there's no like CTA involved. It's just like come enjoy, relax, and just kind of transport your mind a little bit. So being able to share kind of just the pureness of art. So for everyone, where they don't have to pay admission or have a certain background in it, where it's just open to all. So I'm really motivated by that, kind of just like the universal access to art and being able to create stuff that is for everyone to enjoy and feel like it's theirs.
That's awesome. That's great. And what is your background, Allison?
So I'm a writer for my like real job. And which is funny that it was sort of like a circuitous route to get to where I am now, where I got really into typography, as a way to like make visual my jokes and my wordplay, and then got into like typographic street art, and then kind of veered very much in a different direction where I just got really into abstract art, shapes, colors, no words, no meaning. So it's sort of unexpected in terms of it not interfacing with like my background, but at the same time, it's been a really good contrast and a way to just like clear my head of words and intentions almost, and kind of just let the vibe flow.
Mm, yes, very cool. Where are you located?
I'm in Somerville by Davis Square.
Nice, nice. And why did you choose to move there?
I moved in with my partner. So I was like very lucky that he had a cool place. So it was kind of by happenstance. But I'm really I've been here for like, I don't even know how long at this point. I can't do the math on the spot. 18, 15, some
Oh, wow.
number of years, where it definitely was a different place when I came here, but it's still very cool. It's just funny to, I'm like, how many dollar stores were there that are no longer here? And now how many tattoo shops are there? Sort of like, that's like my mental index. I'm like, wait, this place got a lot cooler. So yeah, so it's sort of by happenstance, but I really dig it, and it's become very much my home. Like I think I've lived here longer than in my childhood home. So yeah, so I'm like, oh yeah, this is like officially where I live.
Yeah, when you can't remember how long you've been there, it's
Yeah.
probably home. Where are you originally from?
So I was born in New York City. So I got that city cred. And then when I was like 2.5, we moved to the burbs. But so I'm from Westchester. So I'm from New York, grew up in Westchester, and then came here for school, and then ended up just staying, as so many people do. I actually thought that because I'm from New York and love it so, that upon graduating I would immediately move back. But I was really, even just coming here for college, I was like, this is just a stopgap. But then spending time in Boston and then more time in Somerville, and Cambridge, I realized how much I liked it, and that it was like a really good change of pace, and it was still really busy and really cool, awesome, smart people, tons of cultural opportunities, and it gave me less anxiety than being in New York. So kind of like, on any given night was like, you could choose from 3 things as opposed to 30. And it sort of just like simplified options for no FOMO. I just found it like, yeah, I was like, I'm not missing out on something all the time. But there's still enough going on that it felt like really vibrant. And also that, I don't know if I'd been in New York, just being a self-taught artist kind of coming out of nowhere, if I would have found the infrastructure for it. But being in Somerville, and Cambridge and Boston area in general, I found it's been really welcoming and kind of like easy to make friends and make connections. And it's kind of like that middle ground of like, there's enough going on that there's opportunities, but it's not so crazy and cutthroat that you feel intimidated. So I found it's been really, really nurturing, and just like very open. And yeah, I don't know if I would have been as much of an artist if I lived somewhere else, but we're so just culture centric. But also there's this like spirit of education and experimentation, that's, kind of built into the DNA of Massachusetts, I think. So
Right. Yeah, I love the way you described all of those aspects, and it definitely seems like Somerville is very artist friendly and has a good community for
oh
artists.
yeah, I forget the stat, but I want to say it has like more artists per capita than like anywhere except for New York.
Wow.
I think, yeah, it's really saturated, which is cool. And I've done some volunteering with Somerville Open Studios, and some volunteering with Art Beat, and all kinds of different little markets and stuff. And even like some public art that I've done has been sponsored by Somerville from different, one of them was like through like Department of like Sustainability. Like there's all these just like little groups that are very open to public art and community work that have an artistic bent, even if the office itself isn't really artistically oriented. So yeah, they're just super open, and just like nurturing of ideas, and kind of everyone is accessible. Like I remember I had to find out something about like a water main for a park, and like the head of DPW emailed me back and she's like, oh yeah, I'll have someone text you a picture from that. I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
that is super accommodating of you.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just it's kind of like this nice, like you have the small town feel, but like big city opportunities, I think. It's kind of this like really nice melding. So I found it to be like this kind of like perfect balance. So I love it.
Very cool. So what do you love most about your work?
Um, I love many things about my work. It's actually really hard to pick. Um, so one aspect is I really like how flexible it can be. So when I think about like the opportunities I've had where I've worked with people on like wallpaper for a hotel, or a building wrap for a development, or video art for an exhibition, I really have all these different directions I can go in. So there's I'm sort of never like too confined to any one style or method or even audience. So I have people who know me who have like come to different like art markets I've done, that like know me from my cat stickers. And then there are people who are like, oh, I saw your show at Emerson. So I really like just the ability to kind of go everywhere and make a little bit of an impact, but not feel like I'm restricted to just like one technique, or I'm not just like in the gallery world and I can't do street art, or I'm not just like doing an art market and I can't do public art. Like there's I kind of like that it's sort of limitless, really.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure it keeps it very interesting. Yeah. Anything exciting coming up that you might want to mention?
Yes, indeed.
Oh,
Next week begins the installation for a show. It's a group show. Actually, one of the things I was going to say that I love about the work that I do also is the ability to collaborate. Where if it's a public art event, or a video thing, like if I'm working with musicians, I might do some music videos. If it's a public art thing, I'm working with some maybe some like local organizations, or I have someone who's like a tech helper, or again, working with musicians, or I'm working with another artist, and we're kind of building off each other's work. So that's sort of the spirit behind the show that I have coming up. That's in North Adams. It opens August 5th. So next week is the install, and I'm working with, it was sort of pitched to me initially as like either a show for me or a show with another collaborative partner. And I just kind of like blasted it out, and now there's like 10 artists. Like we just have like a ton of people where I have the space that's given to me with a very like open-ended offer, like, hey, do you want to, it's a called installation space, or like, do you want to install in the space? And so I'm really excited to be able to work with a bunch of different artists who I work with, some of them before, some of them I haven't worked with before in a show. Sometimes we've done like just music videos together. So I'm really psyched to have this kind of be a celebration of all the different kinds of collaborations that we can do. There's a lot of different styles. Some people are doing more sculpture-based stuff. Other people are doing music. There's a lot of different screens. We're playing with some unusual materials, a lot of like repurposed stuff. I have some wallpaper samples that I got from Cambridge Art Association that were donated by a local interior design firm that was kind of clearing out their stock. And I was like, well, rather than this going to a landfill, like what if we had this be like projected on, it's like an interesting surface. Like, so I've kind of been thinking a lot about just like unexpected pairings, not only of artists, but also of materials and media. So it's called House Party, partly because of my last name and partly just because it's like, it's gonna be really fun and like everyone can come. So I'm really psyched about that. It's maybe my most ambitious gallery show. I kind of went like over the top with how much I've been planning. But
cool.
it's for me too to enjoy. Like I want to go to my own show and like it. So
Great. And when is that again?
that opens August 5th and it runs through September 25th. It's in
Okay.
North Adams. It's a few minutes away from Mass Mocha. So it's a bit of a drive, like 2.5 hours from Somerville area. But it's a beautiful area. And the show's cool. And there's a couple other galleries on the street as well. And I think the opening corresponds with their first Fridays. So it should be kind of like a happening scene. So yeah, and I can send you a link to that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Cool. I'm really psyched. I've been working on some other projects. I always have a bunch of things going on, but this has definitely been like the big priority. I'm very psyched.
Yeah. Excellent. And what's the best way, lastly, for people to contact you, learn more, and see your
Yeah.
art?
I'd say either like Instagram or my website. They're both fairly up to date. And then if people want to reach out, email, I'm kind of old school like that. So I
Yeah.
text, but I like am not as on top of things there. So
I love it. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. It was great learning about you and your art and your business. So yeah, thank you.
thank you so much.
You're welcome. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Let's Get Down to Business. Take care.